What's up, dedicated Dragon Ball denizens? I'm Ryan, and we're here with another episode of the Hawks Dragon Ball Nest. Today, we are going to continue our series of how to play Dragon Ball, and focusing in on the colors, we're going to talk about the yellow deck. I'll go through some of the top leaders to play, some of the strengths and weaknesses of the color yellow, some of the main traits and characteristics that yellow decks play and that the cards utilize, and then we'll really get in depth and break down each of those with some examples of cards to put into decks, and then we'll also be splitting up throughout where we're going to show examples of me using all of these abilities in battle. So let's get into it. Now here, at the time of recording this video, I would call these the top 3 leaders. I do think we may see some changes in set 5. Janemba seems like he could be a very interesting leader to play with some pretty cool effects. He probably, in my opinion, may take the top spot. Then we also have Frieza, who is one of the original yellows, who may see some play again, coming back with a lot of pretty good support that he's actually getting as well. So this could change a lot when we're going to see our next set. But right now, these are my top 3 I will put in and give a really, really good overview of what it's looking like for yellow right now. So let's start with the yellow Vegeta, yellow blue Vegeta. He's Super Saiyan blue, but he's yellow. So his effect here upon awakening, or when he's awakened, is at the end of your turn, switch 2 of your energies to active mode. Rest mode energies, that is. So that's really cool. It makes this a very defensive deck, very controlled deck, where we are just drawing out the match as long as possible because our opponent is just not able to KO either our battle cards and or our life. So it allows us to play on average at least 2 extras, or there are other cards that are going to do things at the end of turn as well that may block your opponent from even going into active mode from rest mode. So really good with that, and there is also a Bulma card that helps pull those extras back from drop. Not bad, right? Then we have the Majin Buu Evil on the left side, Buu Tanks, as many will call him. He's post-absorption of Piccolo and Gotenks. So this one is really cool. So once per turn, when one of your Majin or Evil Wizard cards are KO'd, then you can either switch this card to active mode, your leader, or you're able to switch one of your energies to active mode. Many times you are going to just switch him to active mode, give yourself a nice extra attack for the turn, but sometimes that extra energy is going to help you maybe play another battle card or things like that. It gives you flexibility. I think that's what I really like about this, is there's some flexibility, and it also keeps your opponents guessing. Like, I just played against one before making this recording, and sometimes I'm like, what's he going to do here? And sometimes they'll surprise you. So it keeps your opponents on their toes, keeps them guessing in terms of, like, do I use my combo in this or do I use it on that? So pretty cool there. Then we have the Fat Buu, which starts off as Babidi before you awaken. So that's kind of funny, is that your card actually changes who he is. But anyway, so this one is more of a swarm card. So what this does is you can play a Majin or Evil Wizard with the cost of 2 or less at the end of your turn. So it helps you really swarm your board. A lot of times too, it could even help you defend, because there's some good defender cards with that in their traits as well. There are some other leaders. We do have Ginyu, which a lot of people do like to use. Cooler is my favorite not good leader right now. Cooler, I've always loved Cooler as a villain. His deck has a very interesting mechanic of trying to swarm with meta coolers, and its kind of main card is used in some of these other decks too, which is a 4-cost super rare Cooler. We've seen him in some other videos if you've seen some others. And then these last 3 are the ones that I talked about. Of course, Frieza is also a pretty good one too. Ooh, here he comes. Babidi and Taboo. Style and traits of yellow. So yellow is one that battle card stun. So you're stunning your opponent's battle cards, which means that a lot of times they are not going to be able to either attack or switch back from rest mode to active mode. Sometimes stunning just means that they cannot attack. They stay in active mode, but they just can't attack the next turn, or a lot of times it means they cannot switch back to active mode. So very control based with that, right? Control, control, control is what this deck is doing. It's one that wants to draw out battles and really just hope that your opponent runs out of resources and can't attack, or decks out. This is one that tries to deck your opponent out sometimes. Hand Disruption was an additional mechanic that was added in set 4. I think it's really cool. There's a lot of cards that are going to force your opponent to discard a card from hand, which in essence destroys their resources, and they have to make decisions, sometimes dropping or discarding valuable cards. Forcing rest mode is something too. We see that with this Frieza right here, Self-Awakener, but then you choose one of your opponent's battle cards with 3 or less and switch it to rest mode. So that can help you get rid of some of those cards that just like to sit out there and not attack, so they never go to rest mode. It helps you just attack those and knock them out. It can also be used as something really cool to stop your opponent from awakening, because a lot of times you want to attack with your leader. You want to get that draw, but many times if your opponent doesn't have anything for you to attack, or sometimes they will forcefully not attack with their attackers, so that you have to attack their leader and help them awaken. So what cards like this are going to do, or you can rest mode some of your opponent's cantrips. You know, they're cards that they're playing just to draw a card or put an ability. You force that to rest mode, and now your leader can go ahead and attack that card and not let them take a life to awaken. Pretty cool. And then unresting your own cards. There's a lot of abilities that are going to unrest your own, whether it's with extras. And Frieza's specific ability is going to unrest too. So there are some other cards that unrest your own cards. So pretty cool mechanic there, which lets you potentially attack twice, or at least attack and then do what your opponent might be trying to do, is not let that card get KO'd next turn, or just force them to attack your life. Alright, so this is going to be a good turn. I'm going to start off. I'm going to take out one of these guys. Ooh, and look at that. I got 2 of them. Don't need both, but I can use one for defense. So we've got 1, 2, 3 UI Gokus out here. It's going to negate a life. It's down to 8 cards. I'm down to 7. 4 in hand. I'm at 4 in hand. Alright, so here's what we're going to do, though. We're going to drop one of these bad boys. And that's going to take out one of the Gokus. Bye. And drop one of these. See if I have enough defense to last me a turn. Okay. And then we're going to go after... In fact, I could probably even go after another one, but why? Here's what we'll do. He's got 1 negated life. So one of his damage is negated from him dropping that last turn. He's going to take it, negate it, draw a card. Okay, cool. So now, this one will count, if so. And now that I have a rest mode card, then I can draw a card. And that can be some defense for me. Which is good. If I can somehow survive another turn, then I can add to my life. And then what we're going to do is end our turn. Could help him out because he draws a card on it. So now we're kind of at the opposite. But now we can restand 2. I'll use his ability to stun 2 of the Gokus. So now they can't attack. What are some of the strengths of yellow? They are very defensive decks. So a lot of times it is difficult, if you play your cards right, for them to do any damage to you. They're very defensive. They're very control-based decks. They can disable your opponent's attackers, right? Their big attackers can be disabled or even knocked out by many abilities, just for nothing. They force cards into rest mode and can get rid of abilities. Like I said, there's a lot of cards that your opponent just wants to throw out there, have sit on the board, and activate those main once per turn, or activate battle. When you're forcing them into rest mode, a lot of times these are low attack cards. or low power cards, so they're easy to take out. Your opponent, if they do want to keep those cards, is going to have to waste a lot of resources. And there are lots of ways of gaining hand advantage. Like that, for example, if you're forcing one of their cards that they really want to keep, they're going to waste resources. Another way, making them discard. You may not even attack them this turn, but yet you can reduce their hand size by a few cards because we are forcing them to discard. Just so many cool ways. And then there's also a lot of ways of drawing. This deck is one that has many different ways of helping you to draw cards. It really has a draw engine. Most of the other colors, they really don't have draw engines the way that you're going to see it in yellow. Now let's go through some of the weaknesses of yellow. Now yellow does not have a lot of high powered cards, and this was really its biggest weakness until probably just this set that came out in set 4. There were a few that really helped it, like for example this Vegeta in FBO 3, which was the 3rd set, but a lot of the weaknesses of yellow were that they had a lot of 20,000 or less power cards, and they still do. There's still a lot of them, but we did get a lot of good help, and a lot of decks are built around that. Now, stunning versus KOing is risky because that card stays on the field, and especially when we're talking about double strikers late in the game, it can really make you feel nervous to just have a card sitting there without you being able to knock it out if you start running out of ways to stun that card. Or if maybe your card that you're using to stun is then knocked out by one of your opponent's abilities. That can be tough. A lot of mechanics rely on a wide board too with yellow. There's a lot of cards, a lot of low cost, one cost that are like used to either as a draw engine, or they're used to, like I mentioned earlier, there's that Bulma that's going to help you get from your drop. And we're seeing a lot more of our opponents nowadays able to deal with wide boards just by knocking them out, like Secret Rare Goku in red, that's going to knock anything out that's 20k or less. That can just annihilate your board. So that's really tough. So it really makes yellow not quite meta in a lot of ways, especially it being defensive. You're going to get to that end of the game where your opponent may drop 3 or even 4 Secret Rare Gokus if they're playing red. They may drop 3 or 4 Zenos in a row if you're playing blue. Some key cards here in yellow. I mentioned that cooler. We've seen this cooler just because I really like how this card looks. But this one is really highlighting the defensive mechanics of this deck. It's a blocker, but when you attack or block, you're going to choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and switch it to rest mode, no matter the cost. So what that means is if your opponent already has a wide board, they attack with their first card, you get to choose any of their cards and switch it to rest mode. 1 less attack per turn. And then guess what? If it's a 2 or less cost, you just automatically KO it. So that's going to be able to deal with a lot of those abilities. So it is a 4 cost 30k, so it's actually 30k one of the stronger cards in yellow, period. So there's really not too much that goes above that. There are a few that we'll mention, but like that Frieza we saw earlier, and then a couple double strike, or really one double striker Boo. That's kind of it. So anyway, getting back to it, then we have this Frieza. I think it sees maybe a little bit less play than it should because it is a 10k combo. It's a 1 cost, and what this one does is on play, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, switch to rest mode. Really nice card to throw down early in the game to stop your opponent from awakening. This is one where you're going to be able to throw him out there and use your leader to attack that card so that you don't awaken them. So not bad, right? And then we see this Vegeta. I mean, it's a solid card. It shows us what we want to do. So when it's KO'd, if there's a Majin Buu in a leader area or battle area, even any Majin Buu, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, switch it to rest mode. So this is a nice blocker. And the good thing about this, usually when KO'd is not a good ability, and arguably it's still not great, but at least with this is a blocker, so he forces himself to get KO'd. Because a lot of times if your opponent sees a when KO'd, they're just gonna avoid it. I love me playing this on turn 2. Alright, it's turn 2, so I have 3 energy because of the energy marker. Played him turn 1. Thought he might get popped, he didn't. So we're going to go ahead and return to hand. Using my energy marker. Throw down a 4 cost on turn 2. That's ludicrous. And then what we can do is this. So what his ability does is rest mode a card, and if that card is 2 or less, then it automatically KOs it. So he thought that bad boy was just going to stick around until he gets awakened. No, not happening. Alright, and then we will go this route, and he'll probably combo away this one, and more. Alright, so this is good. So what we're going to do is next time he attacks, which we're going to activate this blocker. And when he blocks, he's able to rest the card and KO it if its cost is 2 or less. So what we're going to do is just go ahead and not only rest, but KO that card. And check this out. He's going to block. Oh, he's throwing on. Oh, what? I think he's just giving up. Poor guy. That really made him mad, I think. Here are some other key cards. And now this is really... man, this is really like some of my favorites here. This Goku, almost every yellow deck is going to play 4 of these. On play and when attacking, choose up to 1 of your opponent's rest mode battle cards, and it can't switch to active mode during your opponent's next turn. So this is what I was talking about with the stuns. So all of these cards here are stun mechanics, right? So this Goku is really great because the turn you play it can stun up to 2 of your opponent's battle cards. Notice this, on play, you're going to stun 1 card. Then you're attacking and you're going to stun another card, and that attack can be every single turn. So as long as you're able to defend this Goku, you're able to stun 1 of your opponent's battle cards on the field every single turn. Not bad. Now this Vegeta right here is really, I think, what took the yellow Vegeta to the next level and made him a lot more viable for this set. Now notice this is a 5 cost and he's got 35k attack, so he is one of the strongest cards you can play in yellow. But then get this, he becomes the strongest. I don't think, I gotta think, but I don't think there are any cards with more power than this, because on your opponent's turn he gets 15,000 power. So now we are talking about a 50k card. Your opponent, I rarely even see my opponents trying to attack this card because they know it's not going to be worth it, and they know that I probably have an extra in hand to defend it with, and it's going to cost them too much because they have to combo in order to even meet my 50k, right? But if they don't get rid of it, check out this end of turn, right? End of turn for 1 energy, choose up to 2 of your opponent's rest mode battle cards, and they cannot switch to active mode. So this card, if you can keep him out there for the low price of 1 energy, we are able to stun 2 of our opponent's battle cards, and we have a 50k body on the board for defense and a 35k body that's going to hit every turn. So this card is really good. It's only a rare card too, so it's not like it's that crazy to throw in your deck. You really don't need many. My yellow Vegeta, maybe I should play more, but I only run 2, and that's plenty for me usually, right? Now let's go through one of the double strikes. Oh yeah, there are 2 double strikes. There's this Frieza, and then there's a Majin Buu, right? This one's a double strike Golden Frieza again, and whenever you're attacking, you're going to choose 1 of your opponent's rest mode, and it can't switch to active mode next turn. Basically the same thing as this Goku. We're able to stun 1 every time we attack. And hey, this is a 35k. Going to be hard for your opponent to deal with. Right, so from the looks of it here, I am in big trouble. I have 3 life left. He's got 2 big attackers out here, right? He's got this Gohan that's going to hit me for 50k, and then this Broly 45k twice. I mean, there's just no way I'm going to be able to defend against that. So what we have here is our Goku. Choose 1 of your opponent's rest mode battle cards, and they can't switch to active mode during their next turn. And if you notice, it says on play and when attacking. So we're going to do the on play first, and guess what? Broly's stunned. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit him for an attack, and guess what? Now we have our next one stunned. We have the Gohan. So that's going to really help us to at least hopefully be able to survive. I mean, obviously you could drop another Broly, but it's going to save me from having to deal with 3 really strong attacks next turn. Now here, this is the most ridiculous mechanic here, and it's just, I just really love how Bandai, despite a lot of their flaws that people mention, they really do come up with creative ways to play this game that really kind of go along with the show. And this mechanic is just awesome. It's so hilarious. This is a mechanic of KOing your own battle cards to both draw and force your opponents to discard cards. So what we have here is this one, Majin Buu Evil in the middle. Is probably the best of those cards. Alright, so activate main once per turn, KO one of your battle cards, draw a card. Then, if your opponent has 6 or more cards in their hand, they discard a card from hand. So this really helps us get it down. And you know, a lot of our opponents want that hand advantage. This is basically a twofer. I mean, you do lose one of your cards on the field, but then we get to draw another card, which can help us cycle through, and our opponent discards one. And then, get this, we can combo this together. Over here to our left, we have Babidi. It's a 3 cost, 500, 500. You're like, oh, that seems really bad. Not so. If your leader has Majin in its special traits, play up to 1 battle card with a cost of 3 or less, and Majin in its special traits from your hand. So when you play this Babidi, you can also play this guy at the same time. And then guess what? When he's KO'd, if your opponent has 6 or more cards, your opponent discards one from their hand. So the same thing. So do they both activate? Yes. So this means that if you play both of these bad boys at once, you're gonna play him, and then you're gonna use this guy to KO that Babidi. This ability activates, you draw, your opponent discards. They still have 6 in hand. Guess what? You don't draw here, but your opponent has to discard again. So that can be potentially 2 cards discarded for the cost of 1. Wow, pretty good. Then we have this guy right here, Majin Buu Evil. Draw 1 card, and then activate main once per turn. You can KO one of your battle cards. So this one kind of a little bit less. You see it's only an uncommon, but it can be used to at least KO one of your battle cards. And then remember that Majin Buu Evil's ability is going to let him restand himself or another energy. So that one's really fun. I love showing this one in action. So let's see a little clip of that. Alright, so we are going to do something fun and KO some of our own guys. First, let's go ahead and just hit for a little attack, see if he's going to defend. So what we're going to do is we've got this Babidi right here, and don't worry about that. But when KO'd, if your opponent has 6 or more cards in their hand, they discard one from their hand. So even if he defends this, which he is not from his hand, he's going to from his board, then he's going to have 7. And then so what I'm going to do is use Turn into Candy. So pretty much I'm always going to use this on the activate main. KO one of your battle cards. If your leader is Majin Buu, draw 2 cards. So let's use it. So this is a great way to get a hand flip right now. Right now I'm already ahead. You know, I've got 9 and he's got 7. But now he's going to go down to 6. And I will be 2 more up to 11. So pretty cool move. In terms of extras for key cards, a lot of these are kind of how we're going to use the mechanics. On the opposite end, we'll look at the Turn into Candy first, which goes really with the Fat Buu in his, right? So we can KO one of our battle cards. If our leader is Majin, draw 2 cards. Not bad at all. If our leader is Majin Buu, so that's a really good card. You can use to activate battle in emergencies to get 15k for the battle, but really you want to use this to draw 2 cards. So it's kind of like over with the Majin Buu Evil, but your opponent doesn't discard. You just draw 1. Over here on the end, Death Ball is another good one, a kind of underrated extra, I think. It doesn't see a ton of play, but it's a good one where we're going to choose your leader, or up to one of our battle cards gets the 15k, so kind of a standard starter deck one, and then choose one of your opponent's battle cards with 3 or less and switch it to rest mode. So you're not only getting more power, but you're also switching one of your opponent's cards to rest mode. Not bad. Now here, this one is, in my opinion, just a perfect card for the yellow Vegeta deck, and really anything. I mean, Time Rewound is such a cool card for any yellow deck. I think it should see play in all of them. So we're going to activate battle, but only on our opponent's turn. We choose our leader, or one of our battle cards gets 20k for the battle. But then get this, then choose up to one of your battle cards and switch it to active mode. So it's really cool because we can use it to not only defend one of our cards that just attacked, we can then switch it back to active mode so that it cannot be attacked again. Or we can use it to maybe utilize some of our abilities again on some of our battle cards. So pretty fun if we were to do that, huh? Alright, now here is one of my absolute favorite ways to use Time Rewound. So we are going to use it first on defense as Vegeta restood his energy. So I am going to let him defend against the attack. But that is not all. What I'm also going to do is restand this one. But might as well just use it again. So I'll not add to life. And then I'm going to get a free draw out of it. So that is always fun. I love doing that. And last but not least, and you've seen it used throughout this videos a few times, but let's kind of really zone in for a second on both of these Bulma cards, which are also staples to the yellow decks, especially more so in the yellow Vegeta. We're going to see this Bulma, where we're going to switch this card to rest mode, add up to 1 yellow extra with the cost of 2 or less from your drop to your hand. So this can help you get unlimited amounts of extras. And what you're going to see is that if you're playing it early, like you really want to start playing this card mid to late game when your board is a little bit more wide. If you're playing it early, your opponent is going to just go after her and get rid of it. But what you're going to see is if you've got a wide board, your opponent has bigger things to deal with than you getting your extras back, and a lot of time is going to go and kind of leave her be and just let you continuously get these. So that's cool. Now then you've got this one. This Bulma sees play in every yellow deck because it's so good, and it acts as can be either a draw engine or force rest mode. So you're going to see here is activate battle, switch this card to rest mode, add a life to your hand, so it's a self-awakener. Then you get to choose one, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with a cost of 4, switch it to rest mode, 4 or less. So you can force rest mode, or a lot of times, more so I'm using it for this, if you have a rest mode battle card of 3 or more, draw a card. So really good there to act as a good draw engine to keep that hand size large. And then a lot of times what I'm going to do, you use this on your turn, and then we're going to come back and we're going to use that Time Rewound on our opponent's turn, because they're going to go after her. And then you're going to use Time Rewound. A lot of times you may have to combo another card away to keep her, but it's worth it. Then guess what? You can use this move again because you're going to unrest your cards. And then another move we are going to do here is a nice little combination over here. So I'm going to attack with my Boo. Then I'm going to go ahead and draw a card. I'm not going to add to hand. Now I've got a rest mode. So this got me a nice little super combo here. So not bad over there. And then it kind of pains me to do this, but I will. I want to keep drawing cards. It's 6 versus 6. I need to gain some hand advantage, so I'm going to KO one of my cards. Unfortunately, it's going to be that Bulma. It's probably not going to survive a turn anyway, and then we'll draw 2, which actually gives me another one. So you know what else I could do? And I could have done this the first time too. But if you want. But this doesn't guarantee they're going to get it. You can actually KO your Boo, right? You can draw the 2. And then if we want, we can actually go ahead and just bring him back by sacrificing one of the 2 that I just got. So I don't want that one. This one's a draw. It's a really hard choice here, to be quite honest. I'm going to go with this one. Right. So we get him back. Alright, now let's get through this whole sequence. It's going to go into next turn. So the first thing I'll do is play my 5-cost Vegeta. And let's get a little draw in here. See if I can search. Oh, and it failed. I didn't get anything. That's okay. Alright, and then we're going to play this Bulma. Alright. So let's go ahead and use a skill. I want to grab another time rewound from drop. And then I'm going to go ahead and just attack this one. See, there's no need to attack these two because I'm just going to go ahead and disable them. And look at that. He went ahead and took that. It's going to give him 7 in hand. Alright, so now I will restand 2 energy. Okay. And then I'll use one of those 2 energy to use this sick Vegeta who can stun 2 cards. So that's a good stun there. And then I'm still going to have this time rewound for next turn. So that we can defend probably this Bulma. We'll see what he kind of does. If I have to defend myself, cool. I'm at 4, so I'm also fine with taking 1 hit and going down to 3. He's got some good hand advantage against me right now, so we do kind of have that to think about. But here comes Vegito 2. And he's going to return that. Oh, that one actually kind of hurts. So I didn't think about that. But that's all right. We'll just play him again next turn and continue to stun 2 with him. Well, let's see how it goes. So in that, okay. So he's going to hit me with 3. Kind of on the fence here. Let's go ahead and just use it now because I do want to restand that Bulma. I don't want anything to happen to her. Despite the Vegito himself being a... Oops. Okay. Select. I do this all the time. Where I accidentally restand. I think I'm using the restand and I flip it. Okay, so that's good. There's 1. Alright. Now, I'm going to have to take 1 and then I'll defend the next one with my super combo. And then we'll be okay. Right, yep, and we'll defend. So, kind of a tough turn, but we still did alright. And that's going to do it for this episode of the Hox Dragon Ball Nest. Hope you enjoyed this yellow overview. I think I've been having way too much fun with yellow this set. I'm hoping it continues into the next one where we're going to get Janemba and some Jaguar Island cards as well. But please, if you like what you saw, please hit that subscribe button so you can become part of the Hox Nest. We are a fabulous flock of fearless folks who love to do what we love. I love Dragon Ball. I love making these crazy rogue decks, and I really want others to get into Dragon Ball too, which is why I'm making these how-to videos. So hopefully share them with your friends, please, that once you learn how to play, share them around to anybody out there, right? Now, if you're not quite ready to fly yet, just hit that like button. We'll show up in an algorithm near you again one day. But until then, we will see you next time.